What is up, y'all? It is your girl ASADAH. And yep, this is my webisode. It ain't even a webisode yet. It is a podcast called ASADAH Says. And guess what? We got so much in store for you today because we interviewing my girl. You talking about an entrepreneur. How many black women you know that's an inventor? How many black women? You know, right? So anyway, check it out after these messages because this is part of the female solution. And if you don't know what the female solution is, you're going to know right now. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back with ASADAH Says and ready to roll. See you in a minute.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
All right, so let's get it going, y'all. I have a wonderful guest today because, man, it's exciting because when you know a person and you know them well, their excellence really just penetrates. But I think I want to show a video of her energy because um, it's not a small thing. She professional, but she no joke. So let's take a look at this video real quick because she lays it on out. Hold on, I want to get the right thing. Hold on, I think this is it. Hold on.
Hi, I'm Ayana from WORDstim. Many speech pathologists have asked me, how will they know when a patient is ready to do WORDstim? I know what you're thinking. What is WORDstim? WORDstim is what many clinicians have used to successfully bring back communication for patients who have suffered loss of speech due to stroke and other brain injuries. It is the clinician who gives the patient the opportunity. Once you decide to use WORDstim, we make it easy for you to get baseline information so you can feel confident about how your patient is progressing. I show you how to do that in a video for screening for WORDstim.
I love it. Look, I'm trying to send it all over the place. I'm trying to post it. So anyway, today, guys, my girl, Ayana Webb, what? High school buddies. Let me bring her on to the stage. Yana, look,
Hey.
Yana. Look, y'all, look. Let me tell you, back in the day, right, when she used to play basketball at high school, I used to be like, Yana, and she be going down the aisle with the basketball. What's up, baby girl? How are you?
Good. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited about this because, we grow up, and I'm going to let you talk a little bit about it. But y'all, we grew up in Harlem, New York, going to school in Manhattan, and just, look what we've become, look what we're doing. I just want you to talk a little bit about just your perception of wow, from whence you came to now, and maybe how you even got here from that. What were your ideas back then when we were young? Did you know you was going to be here? You know what I'm saying? So just talk a little bit about the point about that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean,
Mhm.
one of the things that I can tell you off the bat is I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing now. So, besides obviously being a mom and spending a lot of time with my family professionally and, with what I've done career wise, I never thought I'd be doing this. And that's why I would say how I kind of got here is a combination of all of the things that I started to care about as a young person, all of my friends, all of the memories that I had growing up in New York, the memories of relationships, the memories of what happens to people, good and bad. And all of that became a part of me and my decision when I decided what I really wanted to do. Once I felt like I was grown up, and I wanted to make a decision about what mattered to me, that was me choosing to go into a field where I was pretty much helping people. So I'm glad that specifically I chose the field of speech pathology, but I would never have seen it as, even when I was in college. I thought I would probably be a professor. I really like academics, but I was happy to change course and to end up doing something that helps me or keeps me in a company of people who have disabilities or who need help moving along.
Hmm. Don't y'all see my girl? Look at her girl in the picture there. She's so professional. So, it's kind of hard for y'all for me to not be silly during this show because we have such if there's one friend that I laugh with a lot, it's this person right here. So, you went into this field. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't really understand speech pathology at all. I think that my first kind of introduction to it when I went to school and I wanted to study interpersonal communication, I thought it kind of I think went in the direction of speech pathology, and I was like, whoa, whoa, wait, whoa! Like for me, I wasn't that wasn't the road. I was trying to, go into communications and all of that, but would you say, and I know this comes from, don't you have like a speech pathology family, something like, aren't you following the footsteps of an interest of your family? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, right before I decided to go back to school to retrain, so meaning once I looked up speech pathology because I
Mm,
have a family member who was talking about it for a long time, one of my siblings, and I was thinking, I was playing around with possibly going in the field of technology because at that point coding was big and website creation was big,
okay.
and I was dipping my toe in that water,
Mm,
all along hearing about the joy that my siblings were experiencing as they were going to school for speech pathology. And then at the last minute I decided, hey, let me take a look. And I looked at the field. I literally went to Barnes and Nobles and I picked up a career book. And mind you, I've completed college. I've worked for about 5 years at this point, post graduating college. And I was actually a recruiter. I used to go recruit high school students from across the nation and bring them up to a small liberal arts college in New England, and I love that. And after a while, I decided that there was something else that was calling me. So I decided to go to Barnes and Nobles and I picked up a career book and I started to go through it. And that's something that I use that as a memory to other people. One, you're able to change your course whenever you want. And I believe in just getting basic information. So I went there and I looked in a book and it said, you know what, 99% plus job availability. And so I knew that in terms of practicality and
mm,
economic practicality and fulfillment, that I would not be without a job. And I can tell you,
mm,
that is one thing that's true. You have a really, really strong higher rate of job availability. So I definitely encourage the field for that. And I think the other thing too is I was also working with young children. I was doing some basketball coaching of very new basketball athletes. I worked in a community center and I actually was applying my interest towards children
okay.
because I really realized that if we want children to have academic fulfillment and I always felt like the next step of a child really breaking through, regardless of what circumstances they were born in, was education. And in order to be successful in
Mm,
education, you have to have a strong base of learning and language. So when I actually first
mm,
went into the field, I was surrounded by these beautiful children in Harlem working in a community center, and I wanted to do something that would help them and would affect them. So that's initially why I chose the field. And once again, about basic
mhm,
information, what you do is you go get information from, pick up a book and really read. When I say a book, what I mean is a career book, regardless of what
mhm,
you're looking at, and get the
mhm.
basics. And so then I applied to graduate school, and the area is communication sciences and disorders. And under
Okay.
that is where you will find the fields of audiology. And these are professionals that test hearing and understand the neurological background of hearing. and then
Mhm.
our speech pathology program. So audiology and speech pathology are like sister fields.
Okay, okay.
They are all under communication sciences and disorders.
Got you. Now look, look, y'all.
Hmm.
You don't play with me when I deal with intelligent people. Please stop playing. You don't do it. Don't play with me. So what I like to show is that okay, you all see her journey. It wasn't just boom, bam, I'm here and I'm trying to start a business, but there was a process before it that involved study, educating oneself, sort of a building up into what we're looking at today. And I think I want to share the mission of WordStim. So talk a little bit about WordStim. I'm gonna put up the this how nah, I ain't putting that up yet. That is WordStim, y'all, but that's not what we're gonna put up the mission of it in a minute. Then you're gonna get the breakdown. So the mission of it says to increase meaningful interactions for people with communication impairments. That simplicity of that, and you can't think about it in your life, y'all, who has speech impairments. I had 2 strokes, and thank goodness I did not have to deal with this, but I understand where it comes from, because in your mind you trying to put ideas together sometimes, and if you can't do it, it's like, what's going on? So the fact that you address that is so important. Where you got all the knowledge, you got the industry. My thing is, how in the world and where in the world did WordStim come from? Like, what, how did you even think that through? Because guys, y'all got to understand, she invented it. She didn't see it somewhere and started to promote it. She invented it. So, talk a little bit about the why you invented it, first of all, right? And then just the how. How did you make? Because it's not like like a deck of cards. It's a thing. It has components. So
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about it, and then we'll see it in action. Go ahead.
Yeah. So people come before WordStim and people's experience. So when I say is, I was after I had graduated and I was in the field of basically living a life where I saw people either in hospitals
Mm-hmm.
or in nursing homes. And these are people who had medical experiences that completely changed their entire life. The
Mm-hmm.
main one being a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the main reasons why people can get aphasia, right? Which
Um,
is which then makes it so that a lot of people have trouble communicating,
okay.
speaking, and even listening and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So after having experiences where I would go to evaluate, so that means that I'll see a person and give them maybe a type of test or parts of a test to see if they have a problem speaking or communicating, and then I would see them and help them improve that by giving them treatment services. And
Okay.
over time and years, I've met many, many people, thousands, who had aphasia. They had trouble speaking and communicating. Many of them, unfortunately, had to live the rest of their life with help or in nursing homes. And even though I applied much of what I learned in school, so in school, you learn the theories and how you treat things. You learn about disorders and what they mean, how to recognize them, and how to treat them. And I did those things, and they are helpful. But there are a section of people that they didn't really make improvements. So maybe they were on treatment, but they didn't make what I felt were meaningful improvements in their communication. And a lot of times they end up depressed, and it's a sad thing. So I want to say lead with what I saw happening with people is the first thing. And through my mom, who was a person who always believed in what you call possibilities, she taught me, and I actually saw her live her life this way, where even though somebody was really down based on something that they were going through, for example, she was a social worker, and she specialized in helping people who were addicted to drugs. And I literally saw as a child people's life change because of that. So what
Mm-hmm.
happens is first you have to believe, and you have to believe that there's something bigger and more possible than a physical thing that you see.
Wow.
And as I was working with people in hospitals, some of the trauma hospitals and nursing homes and rehabilitations, I started putting some patterns together that I saw happening with people as they were trying to recover and as their brains were healing.
Okay.
And based on what I saw, I really believe that there was a type of treatment and a type of way that we need to interact with people
Mhm.
in order to improve their abilities to come from to improve from having aphasia and not speaking. And
Okay.
WORDstim was born out of that, out of me specifically creating the tools that I wanted people to interact with. The
Mm,
last thing is, I think that people need spiritual help through fun and enjoyment. And if we actually, as human beings, if we can interact with fun and enjoyment, that a person can tap a lot into that. And from that, they can actually help themselves to improve by more engagement. And that was
mm,
the idea of a game, that we are always playing games. And so WORDstim was born out of wanting to give people more help by playing and then having them actually be able to talk in the form words, in the form sounds, based on what I was doing and my fellow speech pathologists were doing. So
mhm.
do you get me with that? Are
Girl,
you
how
getting
can
me?
we not get you? Now, here's the thing. I want to define something for y'all. I just want to show y'all the definition of aphasia because she mentioned it, but I want y'all to know what that means. She not only mentioned it, but she defined it. But I'm gonna just give you more of a definition. Y'all see this? It's over our faces. Look, but we can see it. Check it out. I just want to show you. Hold on. So basically, aphasia, it says, is a language disorder caused by brain damage, commonly stroke or injury, that impairs the ability to speak, understand, read, and write. It does not affect intelligence, but rather the brain's language processing centers, usually in the left hemisphere. Symptoms range from mild word finding difficulties to total inability to communicate. So I think that's a great definition for what you were just talking about. And I do want to share y'all a video of just what we're talking about and where you can see Ayana working specifically with a patient. And it helps you understand like how it works with people. We do have a comment I want to look at here. Oh, this says here, Zelda Speaks says, Black excellence continues. Women's history continues. Awesome, sis. Thanks for sharing your experience. No
Oh,
doubt
thank
about it.
you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
sis.
Zelda. That's
Yeah,
so
no
nice.
doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Let's look at this video, y'all, so you can see this in action, the way WordStem impacts a person who has had these type of difficulties. Check it out.
Are you ready to play WordStim?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so take a spin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel.
Good. So you're going to find this color card. You look over there and find the same color.
Yeah.
Good. All right, turn it around. Let's see what we have.
T.
T. Excellent. All right, so we're going to talk about
T.
feel and how things feel. You've
Yeah.
had tea before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How does tea feel?
Mellow.
Oh, it makes you feel mellow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Mellow.
Mellow.
And
Hot. Very good. Okay, you say it by yourself. Tea feels mellow and hot.
T feels mellow and hot.
Excellent. Did a great job. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Wow. I love watching that. I mean, do y'all see the simplicity? One, but the details, like you don't see the man talking about, I'm not playing this game. This is a child's game. This is no, like, these people feel good about the development of a skill they used to have. Now I'm gonna put this up because you had something about your relationship with Walter, and it says why I'm surprised to hear my client speak, because this is the same brother, right?
Yes.
hmm And so I want to just say, it says, by the time I met Walter, he was in a chronic state of aphasia and poor communication. A stroke left him with aphasia, and it says aphasia left him speechless. My purpose as a speech pathologist is to improve his communication. My purpose as the inventor and user of WORDstim is to help him find words, put them together, and speak them no matter how severe he is. Wow. And it says, what fascinates me is that he has even more gains than I expected. And it said, outside of the speech session, he initiates conversational topics successfully. Wow. Love it, and love it some more. This is a huge breakthrough. And if you're a speech pathologist or just want to look like one, you already see the necessity of having WORDstim in your life and in your practice, like beyond just I don't know the industry, but I would imagine that there's sort of a anything where you're taking care of a person, a patient. It could be a rote sort of, what's your sickness, how I fix it, but this adds another layer of, like you said, play, discovery. Like it makes it a softer process of learning, instead of like, can't you talk, say this word, no rote behavior. We got another comment. I want to make sure we get this. Oh, Naima Latif. What's up, Naima? Says, I'm having difficulty remembering words as I speak lately. This problem is increasing and I'm concerned. What could this be a symptom of? Do you have an answer for that, beautiful?
So without knowing Naima and like knowing her background, I wouldn't, but I have heard this happening. I've had adults who are working or maybe, in their older lives after 50, 60, 70s talk about having more difficulty with words. So my recommendation is always let your primary doctor know. Um, Sometimes they may want you to have an evaluation with a neurologist, or even before that, they'll do head scans. So words come from the brain. So if you have some difficulty with word finding or remembering words repeatedly, that's usually an issue of the brain, because we store all of our vocabulary in the brain. That's where it's stored. There are sometimes very simple reasons. As we get older, sometimes we just prioritize other things because the brain is made to be efficient. So there are times that we as we acquire more information, the brain will say, hey, there's no need for me to remember all of this when your life is revolving around something in particular, something else. So sometimes it's the brain just being efficient. So you'll have a little bit of trouble accessing words that maybe you don't use a lot. But what I would say is tell your primary doctor. You may get a neurological workup where someone is looking at your brain and seeing what the health is of the tissues of the brain. And many of us, as we get older, we may have what we call cognitive impairments, and they could be very mild, very, very mild. And very often that correlates with the aging. So our brain also ages along with everything else. Also, if you have any background of having any brain injuries, including seizures or strokes, mini strokes, sometimes people who have problems with hypertension, very often, if you have very high blood pressure, these are types of things that can, over time, it can hurt the brain. So I always tell people, go to your doctor, let them know what you think, and get pictures of your brain. And some of the times it can point to something, and some of the times not. Play a lot of word games. I like to play, for example, Sudoku, which is not a word game, but I do it intentionally in order to keep my brain sharp, because that's something that we all should do as we get older.
Okay. Yeah, this is important because, hey, Naima, you're not alone, girl. Sometimes I'd be like, yo, looking for words. And so it's not, that is not foreign to me. But I think also, you know, they talk about brain fog. And dietary wise, there are things that we can do to help eliminate that in our system. So I would just do a little bit of all of it. Thanks, Ayana, for that comprehensive and very clear explanation of what it can be and how to handle it. There's so much to talk about. We're going to take a commercial break, but not right now. I do want to bring up this word stem and that you have here, and I really enjoyed this: the what, the who, and the why of word stem, the game. Because see, this is something that, and I'll bring up in a minute, it's not just for practitioners, but you also talk about families. But real quick, the what, you said a word kit, an interactive tool that facilitates language repair and development, y'all. So that's what WordStem is. What about the who? Who should use it? Speech pathologists seeking to improve treatment outcomes, right? But I'm going to show you a little bit more in a minute. And then the why, to increase meaningful interactions for people with communication impairment. So I love this, like I said, the simplicity of the what this is, the why this is. But you also have done some work to make it like workable for families, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I
And
want to,
yeah,
talk about that.
yeah. So the the thing is, as I will lead with this, that people come before things, right? And so WordStim was developed because I felt that there are people who were not meeting the expectations that they may have had through speech pathology and therapy. And one of the things that I try to do from the get go is educate and share and learn um, with and from families about what is happening with the person who's had a stroke or had a brain injury. So what happens is, with if you're going to get speech therapy, it's you have to, it's a service, so people usually use insurance, or yeah, it's usually insurance or self-pay, and it can be expensive. So if you have something that's maybe a chronic problem, chronic difficulty with word finding, or a chronic aphasia or very severe aphasia, some of the time speech therapy runs out. And I always think that it's very important to practice self-help. So one of the ways that WordStem really came out at first is because I had a patient who kept running out of insurance. And it was for her and her sister. They received the very first WordStem, what would become WordStem. They received the first kit that I created because I wanted her to use it in between the time that she was without insurance. So she would have insurance that she would get some time, but then it would run out and she would have to wait till the next year. Well, what happens to a person when they're not getting speech therapy services because they can't get access to speech therapy? Also, payment systems change, insurance change, Medicare change. There are different reasons why people don't have insurance and don't have access. And so, WordStem Families is something that is for individuals who want to work on their speech and language skills in between therapy sessions with a professional like myself, because it happens all the time that people cannot access speech therapy services. So I created WordStim Families for people who want to continue the work that they did in speech therapy.
Mm-hmm. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Let me put us on the side. We on the side a little bit, but just look at why she has this. Why families love WordStem, right? And let me just move her banner so we can read that full thing. It says, one, builds confidence and connection, rediscover joy and meaningful conversation together, encourages practice that feels like play, supports speaking, listening, and comprehension, bridges home and therapy, reinforces the gains made in speech sessions, and accessible for everyone, no clinical experience required, and motivating and trackable. See progress and celebrate every step forward. Yo, that right there, beautiful. And I'm really just happy that you went over, why you did it. Like, that is important. The fact that, insurance ran out and you can't get service, problem, but now with WordStem,
Yes.
they can continue the treatment. And I think that's so important. We're going to take a quick commercial break, y'all, but when we come back, we're going to get more into the invention. You're going to see some more video footage of how it works. And man, and you're going to find out what you can do to actually get consultation with this sister. Y'all, where it. So stay tuned, guys. You'll be right back. I'm just going to go to a quick commercial break, and then yeah, we'll come back. See you in a minute. Great day. It's your girl ASADAH here to introduce a new female solution show called ASADAH Says. That's right. Every month we're going to talk about everything I am, from cryptocurrency and financial security to good health and parenting strategies. Come on and talk with me every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And let's do that thing the way ASADAH says it should be done. See you then. Peace, right here on the Female Solution.
Peace and love. I'm Michelle Renee, host of Education Nation, live on the Female Solution Global Network every second and fourth Sunday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. The intention of Education Nation is to raise awareness about the literacy crisis and to offer information to combat the problem. The goal is to awaken an army of reading coaches and mentors. You will experience guests who are doing their part in the community to ensure youth in their circles are reading and thinking critically. I look forward to serving you in this capacity. Literacy is freedom, and Education Nation will offer information and strategies to help ensure our young people stay free.
I love it. Young people, stay free. That's my girl, Michelle Renee. And I just want to say thank you to y'all for being here today. You are on my show, ASADAH Says. And today we're talking to my homie. Yep. I'm going to say my homie, Ayana Webb, who is a speech pathologist. I'm going to bring her back. Thank you so much for your excellence, my darling, and for teaching us about WORDstim. If you're just joining us, you see the what you call it, see, I have the words. Where are the words? You see the website at the bottom, y'all, wordstim.com. I was like, oh my God, what do you call that? But there's wordstim.com at the bottom for you to visit the website. But the other thing I want to quickly talk about, we've talked about the families, we talked about the practitioners. Now, and I want to make sure we get this in, you will give a free consultation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Certainly. So for family WORDstim, because if I use WORDstim, I have met you and I've done an evaluation. I understand your medical background in terms of why you may have difficulty communicating. However, if you are someone that reaches out for family WORDstim, that is a different type of framework. I don't know you through having evaluated you or what have you. And this is meant to be a therapy tool that families can use at home in order to improve communication. And I want you to be successful. So, with a free consultation, I want to get to know you and to talk to you about why you may be using WORDstim. Maybe it's for a relative, and I would help guide you on the best way that you can use it. And I also can do what's called just a basic type of screening in order to point you to the best way to use WordStim and how you can, track your progress. So anybody can reach out to me through the email that you see, and I would love to talk to you more about family WordStim and how it can be successful.
Nice. So y'all see that at the bottom, right? There's a website, info@tiptopspeech.com. If in fact you want a free consultation, obviously you don't have to be sitting in front of Ayana in New Jersey, but you can communicate with her here no matter what. So that's important. Now, I also want to show, there's so many different levels, but I want to show a little bit more of your interaction with patients so people can see the physicality of using WordStim. And again, what I think is important is that you're not having adults talking about this little game. I don't want to play no game, but they're actually involved in the playing of the game. So I do want to share that because I think it's important for people to see you in action, that this is not just some product you made, it's something that you're using. So let's just take a look, y'all.
Okay, good. So now we're going to talk about scoring this, because this is the scoreboard and these are the points. So we have 2 points, 3 points, 5 points, and 7 points. Okay? And everything is important. All of the points are. Okay? All right. So the word was up. And so that was one target word. That means that's a word that I would have expected you to say. Okay? So you got 2 points. I want you to place this in a 2-point box. So you're going to place this card here. Good. Excellent. Okay, so you're going to place it here. Now, I did have to help you a little bit, which is totally fine. So I'm going to turn the card this way towards moderate cueing. But you still get the 2 points, so that's good. All right, and I'm going to mark you 2 points in the locational box, and that was great. So let's go on to our next one, okay? So I want you to take a spin. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, you spinning a card? Oh, okay. You know what spinning is, okay? All right. So we're going to keep this here. Good. We're going to spin it that way. That's all set, okay? Now I want you to spin the wheel. So take a spin, spin a spinner. Okay. So you have this color. So I want you to look over here and find the same color. Good. Let's turn it around and see what you have. Let's turn that card around. Okay. Do you see what's on that?
Yes.
I want you to know too, I'm always able to help you, okay?
Wow. You see, now what I love is you did not make him wrong. You said, spin, take a spin. Homie spun the card. Let me spin that. And then you was like, oh, wait, you didn't say, no, don't do it. You said, oh, okay, you spinning the card. Okay, now let's spin the wheel, So, but it was great to watch that because he knew what spin meant. But you didn't make him wrong for the action. You just redirected him and you was a little clearer. No, spin the wheel. And then he spun the wheel, And so I want the audience to see he even had a little difficulty with maybe the reading or whatever, but talk a little bit about this process for you and why it's so important, because we got another little clip of that, but you told me a little bit about this. Talk about this situation here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I like to start off with, I ask people, do you know anyone who's ever had a stroke? Right. And I know you have had experience with stroke, and thank God you haven't lost your speaking abilities. And then I may say, well, did you notice if they had any trouble speaking? And then they may say, yes, I did. And aphasia is such it's a condition that affects a lot of people, and so many people don't know a lot about aphasia, and it's like being in a bubble. So what you saw was a young man who experienced a stroke at a very early time in his life. He's very young, and it completely changed his life. So he also has trouble with understanding language and expressing language. And when you saw him spin the card, it's because he didn't understand. When he thought about spin, even though he had a spinner there, he's become so removed from the language.
Yeah.
The brain has to receive a word in order to understand the word so that you can interact. And so I'm working with rebuilding his listening and his brain converting words that he understands.
Nice.
And this is why I feel really strongly about having fun and robust therapy that really move people along, because he is the type of person, unfortunately, he had a lot of failing in therapy before. he was so severe, he would have just stayed in a nursing home, unable to communicate. And that's not okay with me. I think that, of course, we may not be able to help everyone, but we should try our best, because if we were in that situation, or our family, we would want someone not to give up. What he experienced, the breakthrough, which many people in a nursing home can see that he is able to communicate more and he couldn't. That's because he's playing a game. That's because he's hearing more language. That's because I don't throw a bunch of questions at him that he cannot answer. We are in a communication cycle, and it doesn't matter if he has some quote unquote disabilities. We always want to make sure that a person feels confident and that they're having success and moving along. And if we're not doing that as professionals, we're going to continue to have people who don't do well and cannot regain minimum function. And we can just write them off and say, oh, they're too severe. That's not okay. It just means we don't have the answers yet if we can't move a person along. And so I'm glad I'm able to explain that, because some people think that aphasia is only about not being able to speak, but it is also about having trouble understanding language and understanding directions.
Practitioner, y'all. Y'all playing with me. I love it. Because I think these things get overlooked. We know a lot of people in the community that might have these problems, but how do you fix them? Where do you fix them? You got the wrong type of doctor talking to them, so they don't have the skill. So I want to just show the other video, same brother, but a different part in the game. And yeah, y'all just see the use of WORDstim and how it helps. And then we're going to get into WORDstim and getting it into our lives and the why and all of that. But let's take another look real quick at this particular scenario.
Okay, good. All right, so I want you to take a spin. Okay, so you're going to find that color card. Let's turn it around. Good. I see you looking up, right? Let's do it together. Right?
Plan.
Yeah.
Plan.
Good.
Plan.
Excellent. That was really good. All right. It was good. Hold on.
We love a high five. We love a high five, and that affirmation that you got it right. I want y'all to see the patience being used, not patient, but the patience being used with where he is. Again, you did not make him wrong for looking up or looking away. You just acknowledged it, right? And then allowed him to get back to it, and then said, let's do it together. Beautiful. No, and I think it's important to see, because you guys, I was talking to someone last night working with their child, and the amount of patience they had with the child was just a very short patience. But I'm like, don't get upset. Like, just let them keep talking. Just ask them to talk more. Ask them to talk louder. Like, and just don't make them wrong for, oh, you be quiet, or you, and we're trained that way. Because this is a person that was younger than me. So that means you're talking, though, like my grandparents, or that used to stop us. Don't do this. Why are you doing this wrong? Why, and it's always the make wrong. So I think one of the compliments with what you have created in WORDstim is have good patience, have fun, communicate, do it together. Like, these are the things that go unwritten, right? But they are needed to actually implement what you've created. So how can a person get young WORDstim? I just want to make sure, do they just go to this website, wordstim.com?
Yeah, they can go to wordstim.com.
Mhm.
And if they want to interact with me, they can click the contact button, and there's a form that they can fill out and where they can express what their interest is. They
Okay.
can also go to WORDstim and get free help. I have a section that just says basically free speech help,
Okay.
where you can print out just a basic worksheet that for free, in
Okay.
color that you can use to help someone work on their writing, work on words. They're able to recite words, recall words. So I have that available, and I have a list of words that people can practice every day if they want. Like just going over the words and reciting those words are very helpful, and you can
Mm-hmm.
have someone help you with that. So they can, and they also I have a listing of products that they can review and look at and just learn about, and possibly they know someone else that can use it. And that's it. I I wanted to briefly say,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the last clip that you showed, that when the person pointed pointed up. So first of all, the word was plain, and I'm not sure if that was clear.
Oh, it was, yeah, to me, but yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So this is a person, once again, he was just working on reading. So he lost all of that when he had the stroke. And when he pointed up, that is a form of communication. And when you use WordStim, you have to take it everything that the person gives you, not
Nice.
only words. So
Yeah.
sometimes we're communicating with eye contact. Sometimes we're communicating with pointing and gestures.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have to work really hard when I use WordStim, because I'm not only looking for one thing, I'm just making sure that we're both vibing in a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
even though there aren't a lot of words. So I want to acknowledge that this is a person, he could not read, he lost all of it.
Wow.
And so what he did is he used his gesture, and
Yeah.
then that brought it back to his mind.
I
Now
love
imagine
that.
if somebody just said, "You can't speak. I'm sorry, we gave you speech therapy, that's it." No, that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're meeting people on their own terms. We're having
Yes.
fun. We
Mm-hmm.
spinning spinners, and we're
Yep.
picking out colors. So I just
Mm.
wanted to explain all of the different layers of what he did in that clip, because we speak every day, we are missing the elements that it take to actually communicate. So
Wow.
it's our job as speech pathologists to break that down and allow people to come in where they are. And so that's what you saw in that clip. You saw him using everything that he needed to climb back up. And eventually I would hope someone like him, he can get to sentences. And so
Mm.
I get so excited by that, because he could not say a word before,
Wow.
and he's really come a really long way.
Wow. Let me say, I love that explanation because I didn't really get that at first,
Mhm,
but that's why he looked up. He was
mhm,
not looking up because he want to just look up and he can't think. No, he is working to articulate plain.
mhm.
He's looking up in the sky, beautiful. And I love, and practitioners, if you're watching, which you will be, do you hear what she's saying? She's saying you must take in all levels of the communication,
Mhm,
because he's saying plain, but through gesturing, looking up in the sky, it is your job to make the connection too. Oh, look, it says plain. He's looking up. So he is trying to get out that concept, right? It's just not with a word. So I just love that. And I love that the game will bring that out of people. I want to bring up this because I saw the this and I just laughed at it. Not this, y'all. I ain't laugh at that. This made me laugh.
mhm.
Not that's well, after she explained it, it made me laugh, y'all. So now you had this up. Stories matter, right? Talk a little bit about what you mean here, and then then you can talk about the picture and why you what that significance is. But go ahead and talk about the importance of the stories in this work.
Yeah, I mean, once I began to work with patients who were quote unquote couldn't talk, like they were unable to form words, when I'm working with them with WordStim, because we're getting out communication, a lot of the patients will actually begin to tell me stories. And I realized that, this is really what it's all about. Like communication and speech pathology isn't just to get people to say words. It's to get people to talk about maybe their lives, or to say what they want. It's really a soul service. So I was gathering all of these stories that very often people don't get, because they're not talking to people who quote unquote can't speak. And I decided that I wanted to highlight that. One example is I spoke with a woman. She had early onset dementia, and And one of the hallmarks of that is she began to lose her speaking skills. She began to lose words. So I worked with her on WORDstim, and I had no idea that she grew up on a farm. That she was actually a part of probably one of the first Black farmers in this country. She was able to share that with me through playing WORDstim, and I said, "Wow, this is amazing!" And my life is so much more enriched because I get to hear people's stories. So I highlighted the stories that people were getting out through this work with aphasia, through using WORDstim. And I thought of it as me being almost like a host. And that's why you have this picture of me in a chair. And so my question to ASADAH was, I said, "Do you know where that chair comes from?" And she didn't know. And I said, "That's because Wendy Williams used to sit in a purple chair." And so this was a homage to her and her gesture. "How you doing?" So how you doing? So I I that's my homage to her because I actually met Wendy Williams at a book signing at a YMCA in Harlem. I know that also I used to listen to her for a long time, and she highlights communication and telling stories.
Mm,
That's a big part of her success, and I
mm.
liked her as for what she has given to the world of communication, and she also made me laugh. So I always want a good reason to laugh, and so that's my how you doing uh
I told
picture.
y'all this is my friend that I be laughing with. I'm telling you right now, we can be professional, baby, but we gonna have our little fun up in the sun. Thank you very much. So I love that you're doing that. It's so funny. I'm sitting here as you're describing that, thinking like, how can I combine this with the Soulful Chicago Book Fair and and stories and collecting stories and
Yeah.
getting, we're gonna talk about that later and see what's up with that. But this show almost over. That's so crazy to me. I want to talk about you. You are a mom, baby. You a mom, baby. Now that's not. Let me
Yes.
show you what I want to show my baby. Yo, she got this boy. Let me tell you, I remember when he was just a little booby, but boy, he is towering over you. This says the more I meet people who have aphasia, the more I dedicate myself to helping stroke survivors achieve speech recovery. This is my son. He approves this message. That's right. You better get him in there. Talk a little bit about Milson's observance of you and the work you do. Like, is it something that he now comes to help? He wants to understand. Has he ever expressed a viewpoint about the work? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say he's an only child, but I've started to say actually his sibling is WORDstim because he's seen me dedicate time to people who have difficulty. And for example, this one a person that I started to work with, and we actually did work online because it was a little bit past what was going on when many of us couldn't work or go out because we were dealing with things being shut down or what have you. So I work with him online, and I continue to do that. And some of the times, when I'm working with patients or just in the work that I'm doing, obviously we share our family time with our work. And so I've done that. He's seen how in when I'm at home that I've had to take time to create WordStem and to think about it and to have meetings and to see what works and what doesn't, and to talk to people and to help them. And he shared that time with me, and he has also gone with me to conferences, and I'm really happy to I have some speaking engagements coming up. I speak with people, aphasia groups, and these are groups that exist around the country for people who have trouble with aphasia. So he shares in this. He's very interested in aphasia, and he's actually considering the field and considering to carry on the what we're building here, so that this is something that can stand in the field of speech pathology and something that can stand and help people who have aphasia. And I think it's something that he really admires. I mean, he's young, so he, in his own way, he's expressing it in his own way, which is a beautiful way. But also he also knows that if he has an algebra test that he has to do well on that. And so we do a mix of everything. It could be about WordStim, and then it can be, hey, what's happening with algebra. And sometimes I actually have to like semi homeschool him on that. So we have a mix of it in. Everything is relevant, everything is important. And I'm really happy that he's seen the work, and he's also is seeing that it's important to not give up on people. It's important that if you can help and lift as you climb, that you do it, that you try to offer the best that you can for people who they have a disability and they can't. So I think he admires it.
I'm sorry, it froze for a minute, so I might have been sitting there going like this. But the bottom and the top line that I want us to assess, guys, is that as parents, what are the examples we're setting for the future? It's like by being able to observe us and our excellence, they have a choice as to what they want to do, but what they're watching the most of is one of the choices because they watched it. They sat there. They were young. They were, and we get to shape them so that they have something to work on. They have the data to work on. They watch WordStim grow. And the thing about it is legendary legacy. Look at the legacy that this is going to leave, the legacy that this can continue to be just in the speech pathology industry and families. This is about to become a household name. I'm telling you right now. I always, always, always say that. We got about maybe 2 more minutes. Give us some words of wisdom. Wait a minute. First, we got a little comment. Let me see what's going down. My girl, move around with the boy. She says, "Greetings. What a blessing you are, Dr. Ayana. Now, thank you for your work." That's right, doctor. We're going to doctor that back. Dr. Ayana, thank you for your work and lessons you are teaching us all. Love you both. You got that. Thank you, Deborah. We thank you for
Thank you.
being here. No doubt about it.
Thank you
Look,
so
important
much.
work. That's right. Important work is being done. Go ahead and give us that 2 minutes of just a message that you want to give people, whether you want them, how you want them to come and experience WordStim, any of the above. Give it to us.
Yeah, I mean, I would start one from the framework of something that a lot of people know about, which is one healthcare, because I'm inside of the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
And a lot of people talk about healthcare. A lot of people have had friends and families in hospitals, nursing homes, or what have you. And so I'm in that framework, and I continue to say that healthcare is not just like the things, it's not just insurance, like things such as insurance or paperwork. It's also about the healthcare is in the person, and it's in the personnel that's actually given the care. And I've seen good care and I've seen bad care. So it starts with us. And I like people because we all have to be in the healthcare environment as patients sometimes, or as family members being in it. And so this is about pushing the best care that we can and helping people improve in areas where maybe they may have trouble and they need help. And when we all age and get older, have trouble, then we'll need help. So I'm a big messenger for that. The young people, a lot of times I think we should get young people more involved in healthcare and either volunteer work and things like that can help us with compassion. And this is my little way of doing this. I'm making sure that everybody can communicate, and no matter what, that everyone has a story, and our lives are comprised of these stories. And the way we do it is we communicate. So that's a big message that I think we have to do. We all improve healthcare every day when we show care and concern. Let's get the young people involved in healthcare. I love telling young people about this field, and I speak with many people who send me a message and say, "Hey, I'm interested in this." I'd like to promote more people going to the field of speech pathology. So that's my big message, like love and care and compassion through healthcare. And I'm doing it through WordStim.
Love and compassion through healthcare. I love that message. Thank you so much, Ayana. Y'all see WordStim. I'm leaving that image there. And you see the website, wordstim.com at the bottom. Thank you so much for being here today, my love. You rock, you rock, you rock. Yay. Anyway, I love you guys. That's right. Thank you for being here, guys. It's another good day in the ASADAH Says world. We'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central with another fly Black entrepreneur. Peace and have a great day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ayana. Thanks, Ayana. All right, y'all. Peace out.
Bye.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.